Hey, what's up, Chooms? How are you? Welcome. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are all doing great. Hello, everybody in chat. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate all the support and love. I hope you guys are all playing some Cyberpunk games, having fun. Shout out. I got a special guest with me, and he's in chat as well. My son, Donnie, is in chat, aka Don Don the Poop. Yeah, you can talk. He says, yo. And he's in chat saying hi. You just have to turn that down, buddy, because then it's going to echo on my mic. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, I hope you Chooms are having a good time. Thank you so much for joining me. We're here for a live chat. I got some Reddit links to take a look at, and we're going to react to that. Season 2 of Cyberpunk 2087 is coming back. We're getting ready for that. And what else? Next week I got Dice on from Artelsorian Games, aka Rob Barefoot. Last time he was on the podcast, he was not an employee of Artelsorian Games, and now he is. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool to talk to him and catch up and see what's going on. But yeah, I'm happy that everyone's here, ready to go. Without any further ado, I'm just refreshing my chat because it's been acting weird, dude. I'm gonna have to look at both screens to make sure that chat is working correctly. All right, here we go. No, let's see. Actually, this is it work? No, it's working. It's fine. There's a delay, bud. There's a delay. Hey, Don, your dad is a tabletop pro. Sometimes. I just have a lot of experience, that's all. All right. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's do this. Let's close this right here. And let's get straight to it. All right. This is from the Cyberpunk Red subreddit. We got thoughts on killing players. I'm hoping that they mean player characters. You're going to have to mute it, buddy, because it's really... Yeah, there we go. Because it's clashing with me. So, I hope they mean player characters here, because this might be a manifesto of a killer, but I think we all know what this means. So let's check it out. This is from Mapleys, 2 Y's and an S, on the Cyberpunk Red subreddit. Thoughts on killing players. I've been working on a one-shot set in the Metal Wars where small Militech Black Ops force invade a resort in the Pacific as part of a cleanup operation organized by the CIA. Okay, what? Hold on, I gotta look back at that. Metal Wars, Militech Black Ops, invade a resort in the Pacific, part of a cleanup operation organized by the CIA. So a resort where there's a bunch of innocent people are going to get killed by the Militech's Black Ops. That's okay. I don't know why that would happen, but fine. Let's just say that that's what happens. Shenanigans ensue, and they realize that a nuclear device has been planted on the island resort. From here, the group also learn about how their handler never mentioned for them to make it off the island, as they were the last loose end that could potentially lead Arasaka back to Militech. Okay, so they're handlers from Arasaka. They said, go maybe sabotage this, or are they expected to feel the be there for the nuke? I'm not sure. Let's keep listening. So there, it sounds like Arasaka is giving him this job. It's a one shot. My plan was to have the encounter conclude where hordes of Arasaka-backed mercenaries are raining down on the group as they attempt to flee, effectively assaulting the squad in waves until they're either dead or the Arasaka-backed officials attempting to kill them send in Atom Smasher himself. At which point the party's death is guaranteed. I don't like it at all, but let's keep listening. I would like thoughts on this general premise because I'm pretty determined to kill the party by the end of the encounter in an explosive final fight, but I want advice for any flaws in forcibly killing people by the end. I fully intend to share this one shot here once I finish writing it. What do you guys think? All right. So, yeah, I like, okay. Now that I understand what the premise is, it's actually pretty cool and unique. And it's interesting. It's not just... Oh, yeah. Half of you just denigrated? Oh, disintegrated. Okay, that's fine, buddy. Hold on one second. Let me drink some water. Give me a sec. Yo, Binary Dragon in chat. Yeah, that's right, buddy. How are you, bud? I miss you, Paris. Yeah, good old Reddit read. That's what we're doing. We got a one shot here. Maybe you have some advice as well. So basically, this is a unique premise, okay? There's a Militech Black Ops force trying to destroy a resort in the Pacific as part of a cleanup operation organized by the CIA. So this is really like Black Ops to the max. They hired the CIA hired Militech to go and take care of this, maybe as a false flag operation. It sounds like a false flag operation. And the players are sent by Arasaka to go and just sabotage this. Now, why are they doing that? Why are they being sent to go sabotage? I don't know. I honestly don't know. What Arasaka has to do with it, I don't know. Are they trying to embarrass Militech? You know, the premise of all that, we don't know, but I think it's a unique thing to do, to send your players into that. So, also, we got to remember, I'm going to be in and out as I'm still at work, but here for support. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So, what we have here is effectively a one-shot. And because it's a one-shot, that means that... Ooh, the camera's going crazy. Because it is a one-shot, that means that we understand that there are no real stakes to the characters. You know, sometimes what I do is I'll do a one-shot, and then if the players really like their one-shot characters and they survived, then I'll take them into our campaign. But if it's not understood that you're going to do that, then I kind of understand the idea where you want everybody to die or go in a blaze of glory, but guaranteeing their death takes away player agency, and it's kind of like, what's the point? You know, a death has to have a meaning to it, and just pointlessly sending waves of enemies against your players just to guarantee their death doesn't really have a meaning to it. It's just efficiency, really, and efficiency has no emotion. It has no stakes. And once again, I know that this is a one-shot. And basically the idea is that when the one-shot concludes, everything's done. We don't really care. And, you know, and all that. Binary asks, is the CIA in the main lore? Yeah, they are. The CIA, FBI, DEA, and another three-letter organization in the lore actually took over the government and like caused a coup in the lore. So yeah, they're a big part of it. They're a big part of it. I thought part of the government was changed in lore. No FBI or CIA, only Mattel or MaxTac. Uh, you know what? I don't know if that happened, but that's in 2020. 2020 is they're called the Big Four. The big story is that the Big Four caused the collapse of the world and the collapse of the United States. The Big Four are the CIA, DEA, FBI. So, all those things. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they did change it for red. So yeah. But anyway, to finish my point. To finish my point. If it is a one shot and you want there to be a meaning to the death of the players and for it for them to feel like they have agency still, then there has to be some kind of heroic death. You know what I mean? There has to be a point where not maybe not everybody dies, but somebody's gonna die. You know, I would say it's okay to guarantee a death in the one shot, that somebody is gonna die, somebody's gonna make a sacrifice. But even then, you just want to be able to give your players the opportunity to just break whatever system that you've made. You know what I mean? I understand sending waves. Like, I'm all for making it really difficult and sending waves of enemies at your players so they can deal with that. But I don't know about taking away their agency and just guaranteeing their death, because it breaks one of the major rules of being a game master, which is it's not supposed to be you versus the players. It's supposed to be you working with the players against this really hard encounter that you made. I mean, and when I say it's supposed to be, I'm not talking down to anybody that plays a certain way. All I mean is, in my experience, when people have had the most fun and we all wanted to come back for more and there were no issues between all of us, it was understood that the game system and the luck of the dice and all that is what really caused the players to die, not my hard encounter. We all came to the table to do hard encounters, okay? Like, that's what's understood. I told my players from the beginning, like, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to send really powerful enemies against you, especially once you get more powerful, because it's just logical. You know, the government are not going to send gonks after you after they find out how powerful you are. They're going to send the best and the brightest and the most skilled after you, because they need to take care of you. You know what I mean? So, like, as you escalate in power, you escalate in the enemies that you get. So that's what's different about it. That's what's different about it. So it's an adversarial position. Once again, I know it's a one shot. I know it's supposed to be like, waves and waves of enemies. But that also has its own issues, because it's like, it's kind of boring to just do waves and waves of enemies. Unless, I haven't seen the one shot. I don't know exactly how it goes. If there's like a linear path where like they're getting ambushed, they go up against some people. Maybe they have some freedom fighters that help them. Maybe some of the guests at the resort are also cyberpunks or edge runners, and they just came to vacation and now they're in the middle of a firefight. And, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So the players become friends with some of the NPCs. And it's understood that, they're going to come, that there's a bunch of enemies out there and it's a death sentence to be on your own. That's different. There are parameters where death is guaranteed. So it's basically like, for example, if you want to guarantee death to your players, you can let them know, like, hey, if you think you can walk into the Night City Police Department and just start shooting, you're crazy. Your character's dead, okay? Somehow, some way, all right? We're all going to waste our time sitting here. I'm going to roll a bunch of dice and your character's going to die. So let's just save all that time that we're going to spend rolling a bunch of dice and just kill your character outright for the dumb idea you had of walking into a police station and start shooting, okay? That's a guaranteed death situation, but it's still player agency. They don't have to go into the police station and shoot it up. And the idea where they were backstabbed, you know, sent by Arasaka, and then now they realize like, dude, we were never gonna get paid. This is a loose end, which you can kind of play it off by like, you know, paying them a bunch of money, and the players are like, dude, I can't believe they're paying us so much. Like, I get it, it's, you know, it is what it is, but there has to be something hidden here. And then the players find out later like, oh shit, the reason they're paying us all this money is because they're not going to be paying us all this money. They just said whatever we wanted to hear, and they planned on us totally dying out here, but not today. I feel like the players, when they hear that they were backstabbed by Arasaka and then you're going to guarantee to kill them, I don't think they're going to be happy with that, you know? You didn't give them the chance to get revenge. You understand, like, if you're like Arasaka sent them there and double crossed them and was going to kill them anyway, you got to give them a chance to try to get revenge and try to get out of it. And like, despite everything that happens, there's a chance for them to get out. Then I feel like that's way more meaningful than them just dying on the battlefield. And someone here on in chat, Zarian says, I disagree. I think PC death can and should be completely meaningless and pointless sometimes because it happens all the time IRL. Yeah, I mean, it does happen IRL, but that's not fun. I get if you want to be like, you know, a realist and like, you know, have realism and all that, but it's fun to tell stories, and it's more interesting when things don't go that way. And also, I disagree that every death is meaningless, you know, that there are meaningless deaths all the time. I disagree completely. There are not meaningless deaths. The deaths impact everybody. Even the people that kill people are impacted by the death that they lay out themselves. They remember the faces of their enemies for their entire life. Shooting someone in the back of the head and killing them so easily and fast, that weighs on a person unless you're literally a robot. You know what I mean? Like, unless you have some kind of, you know, something that's going on that you have complete apathy for the human life. But after taking a life, it affects you and impacts you in a crazy way. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen all the war documentaries. We've seen veterans talking about the things that they've been through, talking about feeling bad for their enemy, like respecting their enemy. And that's like a common thing that happens in war, because as much as you hate them, they killed your buddies. At the end of the day, you're both serving, and it's like, it sucks all around. It sucks for everybody. That person had a family, that person had a life. It weighs on you. So there are no meaningless deaths. There are none. And even if a character dies in one of your games, somebody should be impacted by it. You know, in Cyberpunk, it's grim dark, and the fact is that when people die, they don't have like immediate family or anybody that cares about them, and then it seems meaningless that way. And it's like, man, they just died. Like, nobody cares. No one's here to bury them. The Night City morgue is just gonna cremate them. They're, you know, body number 248 this month or whatever, and that's it. But the people that work at the morgue are impacted by that. You, as a player in the campaign, you're like, damn, that guy just died and like he's gone. You're impacted by that. So everybody's impacted by a death somehow, some way, and there is a meaning to it. It's like a cycle of life kind of thing. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying, I think it would suck if you backstab the characters, the players, and then also not give them a way to get revenge. I think they'll feel cheated. I think they'll feel like you didn't really give them the agency that everybody wants when they're playing games. You know what I mean? And I think they'll be disappointed, to be honest with you. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Give me 1 second, guys. My camera's getting all out of whack. I'm gonna do something real quick, real fast. There we go. That should be better. Okay. Yeah, that should be better. But now my chat is gone. What happened? There it is. All right, let's take a look at the chat, see what people are saying over here. Obi Law, thank you. Yes, not because the GM decided it should happen. Yeah. Yeah, don't guarantee death, just make it likely. That's how I feel. Lord of Sin says it absolutely breaks the rules of being a GM. You're all telling stories together, but is never adversarial. The GM and players are not enemies. Never should be. I agree completely. That's correct. I agree with that sentiment completely. You guys are let the game kill your players. Don't be the one that designed their death. Let the game do it. Let the game handle it. Bad dice rolls, bad ideas, the mechanics of the game, enemies being really good. Enemies being really good, you know what I mean? Taking crazy shots. Let's see. I've been a GM for almost 5 decades now. Jesus. That's amazing. I can run hundreds of different systems, and I've never been adversarial toward any troop or player in any game. I'm this exact same way. I've never been adversarial. I'm like create an encounter, and then now I'm rooting for the players to get through it. I'm like, dude, I'm rooting for you guys to get through it because this is on paper, this looks insane, and I'm actually worried that one of you is gonna die. So if one of you doesn't die, then this is awesome. Then we did it. You know what I mean? We did it together. So yeah, I'm definitely I feel the same way. If PCs cannot die, then combat loses all stakes. That's right, Kyle Fisher, I agree. But no one, yeah, as everybody else says, who said PCs can't die? It's okay to send hard encounters after your players. Like, so the book suggests, if your players are new, like there's levels. I have my 3 goon method, which has an unfortunate name nowadays, but I have my 3 goon method, and that's like an easy way to figure things out. But if I'm sending a bunch of medium level enemies at my players and they're mopping them up, by round 3 everyone's alive, no one's hurt, what does that tell me? That tells me that these guys can easily handle mid-level goons. So I can't keep sending mid-level goons at them. There's no challenge in that. They're going to see them and know that they're going to get through this encounter, because the last time it was a cakewalk, and it could have been luck, it could have been whatever. But if they're completely blowing the enemies out of the water, that tells you you need to crank it up. It needs to feel more dangerous. Okay? So then you send a bunch of elite goons at them. You send a bunch of elite guys, hard bosses, and they're getting through those guys. That tells you your players are so crafty and so good and have luck on their side. You need to have some kind of wild card. You need to bring something into there that's really going to challenge them, something they're not going to expect, something that they are not prepared for. And you have everything in front of you. And this is how you work with your players little by little. And I'm not trying to kill them. I'm trying to make a more challenging encounter. I need somebody to feel like they're in danger. I'm not trying to kill a character. I'm trying to make them feel like they're in danger. The enemies have assault rifles. The enemies have rocket launchers, okay? I've done one guy has 1 rocket launcher and he has 3 pieces of ammo and he's there, okay? I've done that. Done the rocket launcher, caused a lot of damage. Other times the players got super lucky. All of us realized, dude, if it went one way, we could have all died. Literally everybody could have died on the first shot. You know what I mean? And that sticks with them. Even if they get through the encounter, if they know the mechanics and they're like, oh shit, we could have literally died right there. The math is there. And luckily we didn't die. So what do the players do? They target the guy with the rocket launcher. Okay, so next time, what do? Bring 2 guys with the rocket launcher? No, you bring another guy with a rocket launcher, put him somewhere hard to reach, split the group, bring another guy that's like a really good brawler. He's grabbing one of the players. So now they have to deal with 2 threats: a guy that can kill them easily, and a guy that's bothering them and ruining their plans. So you just keep crafting. You keep adding things. Meanwhile, you're sprinkling in the same gonks that they've been taken out. because there's mid-level guys, low-level guys. They're all in there. They're in the mix. There's weird elite guys. There's this weird monster thing on 4 legs that comes out of nowhere. It's like a cybernetic spider demon man. You know, you add crazy things to the game to try to engage them and make it more challenging. But not once do you think to yourself, oh, I'm just trying to kill them. No, you're just trying to make it more challenging, and that's it. So revenge could be getting the rumor out. Yeah, thankfully most of us are not high functioning sociopaths. Yeah. Here we go. If there are no meaningless deaths, then there shouldn't be an issue. The issue isn't the death, Zarian. The issue isn't the death of the players. The issue is you're taking away their player agency. You never gave them a choice. It was already written that they had no chance of survival. And as a player, if I know that coming into a game, I might feel like, okay, I don't want to play then. Because it doesn't feel like there's any chance for my characters to survive. And the first thing that any human being wants to do is survive. All right? That's just a part of their essence, okay? Survival is a part of every living creature's essence. It wants to survive. It doesn't want to die. Even bugs have it in them to try to save themselves from death. So if it is already written in the stars and the skies by the GM that there's no way that you guys will ever, ever, ever survive, then there's no player agency. It's done. It's gone. You might as well say that you're always going to fail certain skill checks. It's the same thing. If you're just sending goon after them, you're like, all right, well, they survived this one. Okay, send double the amount of guys. A helicopter comes and drops off 10 more guys. Okay, all right. They kill them. We lost the player. Now what? Oh, 2 helicopters come and drop off. I don't know how that's interesting or fun, to be honest with you. That's just like, okay, what's the point, dude? What's the point? This is at the end of the day, this is a game, and we're not having fun because the agency's gone. The agency to be able to do what you want to do and make decisions and feel like you're impacting the world is not there. You can't impact the world. You can't impact the game. The game has already been set. You lost before you played. So I think you're cheating your players by doing that, really. I don't think that it's so bad to take away to kill players or to kill characters. I mean, it is bad to kill players. It's not bad to kill characters, though. I don't think so at all. I think that, and in the past, I've had players that just didn't want to accept their character's death and like were adversarial towards me because they never wanted to lose. And I don't think that's right as either. I don't think that's okay. I think losing is a part of the game. I think losing is a part of life. It happens in real life. You know what I mean? But they still had agency. They had the chance to make the decisions that they wanted to make, and it just didn't work out for them. And that's also real life too. You know what I mean? So there's a way to be realistic, but also giving your players the agency they need to be able to play. Let's see here. Kyle Fisher says, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I ran a campaign for 2 years and a PC only died once from combat. No, you're not doing it wrong. Your players get better at it. They're smarter. Their characters get really good. It's a skill-based game. The better your skills are, then the more likely you are to succeed. You can just keep pumping up the difficulty, but after a while, it just gets really hard to make it a challenge. It happens to D&D. There aren't very many level 20 campaigns. Once you get to level 20 in D&D, like the game sucks. Like you're going up against gods and cosmic entities and like, the whole like meeting in a tavern and going into a cave and fighting a beholder is gone. Like that's all gone. Now you're so powerful that like just the thought brings down a mountain. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do as a game master? At that point, it's time to just like swan song, like that this character's done. They're super powerful. We killed Arasaka. We killed Militech. Night City is ours. The Night City Police Department was destroyed. You start going down the list of all the things that you've done, and it's like, dude, it's so ridiculous. Like your character's so powerful, not even just like on their character sheet, but just their reputation. The fact that they took out three major corporations throughout the 2 years or 4 years of our campaign. What are we gonna do, dude? Like, we reached the end game. There's nothing left. You know, like you're the president of the world. You know, what do you want us to do now? It's time to go on to the next thing. Those characters are legends now. It's time for another person to come up. It's time to move on. You know what I mean? So it's about the journey to that end. You know what I mean? And if they die, then that it is what it is. You know what I mean? But if they don't die and they survive, at the end of the day, they retire. They go on. They move on. They do their own thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see. To be fair to Zarian, he says I do killer one shots, but I discuss it with the players beforehand. Mothership is great for killer one shots because it takes 2 minutes to make a PC. And I think you can have a game where PCs can't die and it works fine. See Tales from the Loop, Brindlewood Bay, and Far Trek. Yeah, no, look, listen, if you tell I think you're absolutely correct. If you let them know, like, right off the bat, like, hey, this is an encounter where your characters are going to die, okay? I think that it's, for a lot of people that they'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to play that, But maybe some people will be like, okay, fine. Like we'll work our way backwards. Each one of you, like I would make it like suspenseful by telling them the exact way their characters die. Like this character gets shot in the head. Your character burns alive. Oh, your character is smashed by something heavy and crushed. Now, as we're playing the campaign, we're like, dude, when is it going to happen? You know what I mean? When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? I already know it's going to happen. My character doesn't know, but I know as a player. And that's different. You're setting the expectation. Now you're giving them the option, which, guess what? That's called agency. You're giving the player agency. You're telling them you're going to die. So what do you want to do? Do you want to play or not? But by not telling them that they're gonna die, but in the back of your head they're already gonna die. They didn't know, but when they sat down at this table, they were not gonna survive this encounter. You took away their agency because now they don't have an option. They don't have an option to not play this, and they'll feel cheated. They might get upset and tell you that you're the worst game master ever, and that's what it is. Like, I had an encounter one time where it was a difficult encounter for my players to get out of it. And it'll be easier to just tell you what it is. So all my players had to witness an execution of somebody they didn't want to see executed. It wasn't an ally. It was kind of like an innocent. But there was a war between two tribes. This is D&D. It's a war between two tribes. One of the tribes that they're with, one of the players used to be part of that tribe. So they're like, Tribe A, I'm visiting, what's up? And they're like, well, we're at war with Tribe B. And actually, we got one of their prisoners and we're going to execute him today. So the player's like, oh, hell yeah, let's go execute our enemy. They go, they see the enemy is like a defenseless person that is not armed, was never a warrior. This is probably a civilian. And they're spinning it into making it look like this is like an enemy and they're making an example of it. So my player characters were like, this is not right. This is not cool. But they also know that they can't stop an execution, or maybe they can. I thought, and this is, this is where I could have handled it better. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, if this guy was a part of that tribe and he was so respected, I feel like he would get up and say something. But he didn't. He's like, it's not my place to say anything, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, shit. So, well, I guess this execution is going to happen. But the players were like, no, we're not going to let this happen, And like, they got involved and they're surrounded. They did it in a very sloppy way. It was not stealthy or anything. It was sloppy. They were attacked by the guards. The guards weren't trying to kill them, but they were trying to subdue them because they're like, whoa, what the hell are you guys doing? You're guests here. You're not the enemy, but you're acting weird. So they're trying to subdue the players. One of the players gets away. And he was upset that I gave him like 3 difficult checks to do to get out. Okay, maybe 3 is excessive. Maybe I should have just done 1 or 2. But I did 3 because in my mind, I'm like, dude, this is so difficult to get out of this situation. You're surrounded. There's only like 1 or 2 exits, and they're all over you. But he felt like I didn't give him any agency, that I was trying to be adversarial by doing 3 checks. He's like, you made 3 difficult checks because you wanted to make sure that I didn't pass. But that's not the truth. The truth is I thought it warranted 3 difficult checks to get out of it. And he actually got out of it, but he was still mad about it. He was like, you were trying to kill my character. And I said, no, I wasn't trying to kill your character. I honestly thought that this was like logically the path that we would take. But see, there it is. Like, even though I didn't take away one of the players' agency, they thought I was trying to take away their agency, and they were upset. So imagine if you really were trying to take away their agency, how upset they would be. And you did a bait and switch and you didn't tell them about it. It's honestly such a bad idea, in my opinion. A very bad idea. I would say keep it the way it is. It's a one shot. Let them know, like, hey, I got this awesome one shot, but it's guaranteed to kill your character. And if they challenge you and say, like, oh, well, you know, you're not going to kill my character, you'll tell them, like, listen, I promise you, you're not supposed to make it out. And this is how it's going to go. But there is meaning in between. It's really cool. Like, you can get to the end. I'll tell you exactly how your character is going to die. And then now it's just like kind of a back and forth on trying to figure out when their character is going to die, how they're going to take it, blah, blah, blah. I still think it's, you know, really iffy. You got to do it with really, really, like really experienced role players that have done everything. And they're like, okay, let's experiment with something different. But I don't think that generally, as a rule, I don't think it's a good idea to take away player agency. So that's my 2 cents. I think we talked enough about this. Everybody in chat has some good ideas here too. So let's move on. All right. Oh, dude, what? This post got deleted? Why? Oh, removed by the moderators? Dude, this was a good one. They don't want to D&D with me anymore. Am I in the wrong? And it's gone. God dang it. Why? Why was it removed by the moderators? Can't even have discussions anymore, dude. All right, never mind. That's gone. Telling a good tragic tale is not easily done, even with an established and well-experienced troupe. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's even difficult to do in movies, dude. Like, it happens all the time in movies. How many deaths have you witnessed in a movie or in a TV show? And you're like, dude, I wish I could care, but I like really don't care. I really don't care, like, about this character. Like, who cares what happened? Like, they want me to feel bad, but I just don't care. And is that my fault? You just introduced this character, you know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to care about them? Always screenshot. You're right. I should have screenshotted that one. You're right. I just thought it would still be there. All right. Next one on the Cyberpunk Red subreddit, guys. Let's go. This is from Emotion Otherwise 1040. Big plot line accidentally revealed by a guest player. How do I deal with the aftermath? Oh, those damn guest players. They come in and they cause problems. What's their problem, dude? All right, let's check it out. Posting on an alt account since my players know my Reddit account. Anyway, also not sure if I flared or whatever. I had a friend come in to be a guest in the session, playing a big villain. I gave her some general plot and the idea of the character she was playing, and a little bit about a plan her character was going to do in the future. Since at this point she had been playing well, and I actually liked her inclusion as a guest player / villain. Okay. So you're like, this is the lowdown. You're going to be a villain. And these are like the general end game goals that we're not going to probably discuss, you know, here. But this is what's going on. All right. Near the end of the session, she let slip her future plan by accident. And I quickly had to remedy it and say her character's plan was foiled by the PCs to try and make sure they didn't know about it too much. Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. The only issue was that it was my plan down the road once my players got stronger, and now I have to think of something else or go with the flow until I could think of a direction to push the story forwards. I think that's what he means. Any advice? Well, I think emotion otherwise has answered their own question here. All right. Do I think of something else or go with the flow? That's literally all being a game master is. Change it. It's bad, change it. A rule is bad, change it. An idea is bad, change it. The players found out about something that they weren't supposed to find out, change it. Like, okay, you foiled those plans, but you didn't know about plan B that I just made up right now. Do you? Haha. See? The game master can never lose that game. That's why it doesn't make sense to be adversarial against your players. Because you can literally do whatever you want, dude. You can spawn a level 40 dragon right in front of the party at the crossroad. It came through a portal. It plopped down on the ground. Everybody's dead. You can do that. They can't stop you. You know, they can physically harm you after you do that. So I would get into MMA. But you can do it. You can actually do it. So there's never a situation that you can put your players in. Binary Dragon is in my chat right now. He'll tell you. I gave him a tank. They found a tank. They weren't supposed to find a tank. Okay? They found a tank. And I messed up because I put a tank there. And they're like, well, we're going to steal it. And I said to myself, fuck. Why did I put a tank here? They're going to steal the tank. Of course they're going to steal it. The whole thing was getting the tank. The plot lines, this person kidnapped and that, they didn't give a shit, dude. I put a tank there. They're going to steal it. So what am I supposed to do? Oh, no. The keys are gone. Oh my God. No, dude. No. I had to let them steal the tank. I fucked up. I put the tank there. So what did I do? I've said this before. Tanks have tank problems. Okay? They need fuel. They need ammunition. You need to know how to drive it. It's loud. Okay? Other people might want your tank. You're not supposed to have that tank, so the people that own the tank don't want you to have the tank. So while they had this really cool, awesome machine and they were in it, it became a liability. After like 3 sessions, they were like, let's get rid of this fucking tank. To be fair, Binary Dragon, I think, was one of the only people that was like, dude, we got a tank. We can't get rid of it. But everyone was tired of it. They were tired of it. And I wasn't being unreasonable. I was like, yeah, ammunition, fine. Go ahead. You know, here you go. Ammunition. Probably got to trade for it. It's loud. It's super loud. Okay, well, they stored it. Yeah. I think they agreed that they would store it somewhere. They're like, we'll put it away, and when we need it, we'll get it. And hopefully it'll still be there. It won't be on cinder blocks. But, you know, that's exactly what I did, dude. Like, you have a tank, you're going to have tank problems. All right? So there's never a situation that your players can put you through as a game master where you can't get them, like, change it. I'll give you another example. In my Cyberpunk 2087 campaign, my players came up with an idea where they were like, dude, what if we make a new drug, like Breaking Bad style? Okay, make a brand new drug in the market. They made connections with Maelstrom to sell it. So they'll make it. I said, well, you need a supply. And they said, okay, fine, we'll get a supply. Where can we get a supply? You can get it at the docks. You know, it's in some of the shipments there, but obviously you got to steal it. Okay, how do we steal it? All right, well, you can hire someone to steal it. Okay, they hired someone to steal it. They stole it. They got their stuff. They made it. Made a shitload of money. I mean, end game money. Tens of thousands, because that's what it would be, you know? Logically, if you're going to sell that much, tens of thousands of eddies, okay? Tens of thousands. They sold it, but now, guess what? They have drug dealer problems. The police are after them. The other drug dealers there are like, who the hell is this person coming into my area selling drugs? The biggest drug dealer in Night City went and had a chat with them. Like, oh, dude, you guys heard about this new drug? Isn't it crazy? Have you guys, what do you guys think about it? Basically, letting a veiled threat, letting them know, like, cut it out. Okay? Either cut me in or cut it out. That's what they said, you know? So, as awesome as it was to make all that money and to do something cool, like, do you really want to be drug dealers? Because if you do, you're going to have drug dealer problems. Name me one drug dealer movie that didn't end terribly. Tony Montana did not have a good ending, okay? Scarface did not have a good ending. Narcos did not have a good ending, okay? All these drug dealer movies, they don't have a good end. There's an ending. I mean, the ending was cool. It was awesome, but it wasn't good for the people involved. So, knowing that, the players are now thinking like, how do we get out of the drug game? So now the thing that they thought was their ticket is now a liability once again. They're like, now how do we get out of the drug game? Because now that they're making, Maelstrom's making a bunch of money too. Do you think they just want to cut ties and be like, oh, you know, I'm scared of the police, so let's not make these thousands of dollars anymore? They're going to be like, no. There's no stopping. You know what I mean? You're going to make it, and you're going to sell it, and you're going to make a bunch of money, and we're going to make a bunch of money, and that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to operate. Don't piss me off. Right? Liability. It's a liability. So there isn't any, even when you give them the thing, it's going to cost them. Okay? If you get loud, you get dead. Ancient street rule. That's right, Lord of Sin. That's actually right. And kitten catches doesn't count because it's good stuff. Yeah, so that's it. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that the guest player here was just trying to do something fun and was excited about the information that you gave them. So I don't think there's any fault to them. As a game master, you just have to change it. Just change it. Go with the flow. It's okay. I don't know exactly what was revealed or what the situation was, but yeah, it's fine. It'll be fine. You'll figure it out. It's not the end of the world. Everything can be changed. Yeah, that's it. The Sackler family party of Oxy. Oh, yeah, that might be a little bit different. I don't know, Chum, being a drug czar looked so much more appealing in the brochure. Yeah, exactly. I think we should stick to the plan so they know. So what they gonna do? Stop them? Yeah. All right. Oh man, look at this one. The title itself. All right. This next one is from I Nguyen Semper. Nguyen. I think that's how you say the last name. I Nguyen Semper. All right. I'm failing as a game master. Please help. All caps. So I currently have 2 games going. One of them is my Saturday Players, a former coworker of mine, a former neighbor, and my wife's coworker, and my wife. Okay, so your wife and 2 buddies. They have lots of interplay interactions. They react as their characters would. They treat situations like a chance for roleplay, and their characters like real people. Are like real people, I think is what he's trying to say. The 2 other guys had never played a TTRPG before, and yet they fully leaned into what makes the games great. Combat situations are dynamic, creative, and handled with tact. Their characters will fight but treat killing enemies as serious things instead of the bad guys being faceless sandbags. Awesome. So far, they sound like the perfect group. Then there's the Tuesday Players. Oh, the Tuesday Players. I've been running both groups for a little over a year, but the Tuesday Players are still just not getting it, if that's the right way to say it. Combat situations are treated like an RTS. They got real upset when I initially capped their actions by not allowing them to carry an arsenal in their pockets that they can just switch through at will. Yeah. They tend to play the game like a video game with little regard for reality, yet they question everything NPCs do, as if they're expecting NPCs to behave according to the rules and reality of the world, but they get upset when I expect the same from them. they're still giving me grief about not being able to just run up to a guy in the middle of a gunfight and shoot them point blank for an instant kill. They very much min-max do to one of the players. They'll say, I shoot that guy. Me, cool. You were still shooting with your pistols, right? I guess. Min-maxer. No, don't shoot that from there. Move your guy 4 meters that way out into the open and shoot with your AR because the DV is easier to hit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, just to pause for a second. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that makes you a min-maxer. That's just, you know, playing the game. That's playing the game, and, you know, it's you don't want to fail. You don't, you know, if you fail, then people can die, and there's stakes, you know? So it's like when you're playing the game, you're measuring, and you're like, what's the most optimal move here? I don't think that makes you a min-maxer. That's just somebody that plays the game. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when combat is combat, like if I'm fighting and you're fighting, there's no role play, there's no nuance. They're trying to kill you, you're trying to kill them. So if you fail your dice roll, you're not doing the killing, they're doing the killing to you, and you're not doing it to them. So I think that's just logical. Oh. So I don't think that makes them a min-maxer. Oh, yeah. I will. Do you have the pen? Can you bring it? No. So, yeah, no, you're good. Sorry about that. So, yeah, so far I don't think there's anything wrong with this. You know, I think that the Tuesday players, that's just how they like to play. You know, you can tell them like, hey, like, I understand if you guys want to just do a bunch of killing, and that's fine. Like, that's how they like to play. If you don't like that, then you're not the right game master for them. That's what I would say. But let's just keep reading, see where we go from here, all right? I've got to put the flash of luck system on because they've been abusing it to get out of literally any consequence. What? What's the flash of luck? None of their... Lord Cheese says, jumping in front of another player and commanding them to do something is kind of a dick move, in my opinion. Asking them if they want the advice before just shouting it at them would be best, in my opinion. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. You know, everybody can make their own decisions. But I think, you know, I don't know how this group is and what their situation is, but if they're all playing together, then they kind of are cooperating together. And maybe one player is like, dude, I found an optimal move that's going to help all of us. Because if you do well, then it's good for all of us. You know, that actually means that's what makes Cyberpunk combat more engaging, in my opinion, is that everybody's involved. Everybody wants to know, like, you know, what the best optimal move is, because things can go horribly wrong for everybody really quickly. If one of the players gets a critical injury, it affects everybody. That means that somebody is out of the fight, basically. You know what I mean? So I get it. Flash of Luck is from Hope Reborn. It lets you spend luck to do stuff retroactively. Ah, got it. And they were abusing it. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. All right. So anyway, here we go. Let's just continue. So none of their players really interact with each other at all, and I don't mean to be offensive to them, but I find their characters to be fucking boring. They have zero personality to them, except for Min-Maxer. But he seems to think his charismatic impact or persuasion skill is like a charm spell. It often feels like the other players have just become extensions of Min-Maxer, who years the game as an adversarial one. Who plays, I think maybe meant plays in an autocorrect, who plays the game as an adversarial one, where he's constantly trying to outsmart me as the game master by often confusing me. Didn't you say it was like this? Didn't that gun actually do 66? I love these people as close friends, but after over a year, I still feel like I'm the only one actually in the world. As for the whole 3 hours, I'm mainly the only one talking, getting blank stares and silence most of the time. I mean, ask, are they even having fun? Ask them. Be like, are you guys having fun? Is this fun for you? Like, for real. Because And I mean, this is definitely like something I would discuss with them. I would say like, you guys don't really interact with NPCs. You have the face of the group that's doing all the talking, which that is a min max move. I've seen that where like, the guy that has the most in their charisma stats and is the talker will go and do all the talking. But as a game master, I'm like, that's not always going to be the case. You know what I mean? I might be like, oh, well, they don't want to talk to that guy. They want to talk to you. And be like, well, I don't have any charisma. And it's like, well, dude, they want to talk to you. They don't care about your stats. You're the one involved with this deal. Like, they don't know that guy. You're the one involved. So you better figure out a way to talk to them. You know what I mean? And then now you're making people get involved in a logical way, which, that doesn't mean that you're ruining their plans, because if they had a plan where they were going to MMORPG it and be like, you're the tank, you're the charismatic guy, you're the wizard, you're the what, you're just saying like, hey, that's all well and good, but it's not always going to work. Okay? There's going to be times where they don't want to talk to the face. They want to talk to the big guy that doesn't talk that much. Like, why are you so quiet? Hey, you back there, why are you so quiet? I don't like it. Who is he? Oh, yeah, he's my associate. He's trustworthy. Well, can he speak for himself? What are you? His handler? Is that what it is? Does he have you on a leash? Like, what's going on over there? Now it's like, now they don't trust it. You know what I mean? They don't like it. Like, why are you so quiet back there? Right? So that kind of stuff can happen too, Anyway, let's keep going. I wonder if I should even keep this game going, because I get really excited to play, then really, really frustrated with the group during the game. All right, we have an edit here. The advice I'm getting exactly the reason why I made this post. I know very well that I need to have a responsible and mature conversation with my players, but some of you have given some great advice on how to approach that. I also don't want to give the impression that I find them to be problem players. Okay, that's good. Rather, I've been feeling that them not engaging with each other or the story or even their own characters must be a problem with how I'm GMing. And some of you have given great advice on how I am approaching this specific campaign. Also, Min Maxer is one of my oldest friends. LOL, he's simultaneously my best player and my most problematic at the same time. He leads the table in role-playing and helping with rule crunching for special items or actions. However, the sessions also tend to become the Min Maxer show, with him taking center stage all the time, challenging my rulings, and stepping on other players' agency. No, don't do that. Do this instead. I need to tactfully encourage his great behaviors while possibly curbing the future behaviors. Seriously, you all are great, and thank you for your advice. Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like this is a clash of styles. This is what it is. All right? You don't like that type of gameplay, and your players do. So there's does exist a situation where the game master is not having fun. If it could be that everybody else is having fun, but the game master is not. And in that situation, it's time to walk away. Excuse me. Sorry. So there are situations where the game master needs to step away. You already have a good example of a group that you like to play with. Your Saturday group, you're like, oh, these guys get it. This is the group I love playing with. They understand that combat is a secondary thing. They like the role playing. You already have a good group, so you know what to base every situation on. That's why you feel like there's something wrong, because there is. You're what's wrong. You're the problem. Your players are not the problem. All right? You're the problem because you don't like the way that they play, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the way they play, and there's nothing wrong with the way that you like it, but it's just not working. It's clashing. You're putting a square peg into a circle. You know what I mean? They need a circle peg. You're not a square. You're not a circle peg. You're a square. So it's, now I'm not saying disband the group, but address it in that way and say like, hey, sorry guys, like it's not about you guys. I know you're all having fun, but I'm not having fun. I feel like we're playing realism simulator, combat simulator, which is like That's cool if that's what you guys like, but I like stories and characters and interactions, and I like that scene in a movie where the villain and the good guys, like, you know, sit at a table and have like a crazy conversation with each other, and it's like there's tension in the room, and I want to talk about your backstories. You know, I want to explore that stuff. Like, combat is cool. Yeah, it has to be there, you know what I mean? It's a messed up world. You have to protect yourself. I get it. But that's not the main reason that I play. You know, like for example, like Warhammer 40K for me, I don't like role playing it. I haven't really tried it all that much. I don't think it's designed for role playing all that much. I know they've tried to do it, but anyway, that's another video, another thing. But when you're playing Warhammer, it's all about min maxing. It's all about what's the optimal move on your turn. It's chess. All right, chess is about min maxing. It's the most optimal move at the time, and that's fun for people. In fact, it's fun for me, a person that is not a min maxer. I play those other games and I play like a min maxer because it's fun in that setting, in that way. But when I play Cyberpunk, I want to explore a cool character or a cool idea, or, you know, explore a character's backstory and go like, man, I wonder how this is going to play out. If Arasaka is always coming after them, you know, because they stole something, like, ooh, it would be really cool for them to just like come out of nowhere one day and like ninjas are on them. You know what I mean? I want to do that. Okay? That has nothing to do with like a combat encounter. That's just like tension and stuff like that. So there's also been a time where I was a player, I was in a group. Yeah, this camera's wigging out on me. Hold on. Maybe if I do this. There's also been times where I've been a player in a group and I told everybody, like, dude, this, you know what? I'm really sorry. And my friend was the game master. And it was not easy for me to do this. But I told him, like, dude, I'm not having fun. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think our dynamic is good. I'm not, I'm just really not having fun here. And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to do this. I'm sorry to bring us down. And maybe we all thought we were having fun, but I'm not having fun. And it made our group disband. It was an ugly disbanding. I stopped talking to some of the players. You know, there was a little bit of drama. But at the end of the day, I did like 4 or 5 sessions with them and I was not having fun. Like, how many more sessions am I going to do of not having fun, you know? As a game master, you have that same right to do that. So yeah, so that's what I would say. I would say stick with your Saturday group, talk to your Tuesday group, and then your buddy that's like stepping on people and giving them min-max advice. You know, yeah, you got to tell them like, hey, dude, there's nothing wrong with the way that you want to play, but you can't impose it on other people. And maybe like, you know, next time we get together, you can let everybody know like, hey, if you guys want my advice, I'll say like, hey, can I like offer advice? And if they don't want to hear it, then you can't get butthurt about it, all right? Like, they don't want to do what you want to do. They don't care if it's optimal, maybe. But if they're like, yeah, dude, please, you know better than me. You know optimal ways to win. Like, tell me. I want your advice. The players might be like, dude, it's fine. Interrupt me and tell me what to do. I take your advice. Like, I like it. You know what I mean? So it's all on just letting people know, like, what works for everybody. And that's it. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's failing as a GM. You're not failing as a game master. You're just failing to understand that it's time to move on or do something. Advice, the interpersonal angle is really good here. Well said. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I've always said is like, playing tabletop RPGs is also like therapy. You know what I mean? There's so many interpersonal skills, you know, like hygiene, like whoever thought hygiene was going to be a thing? When you read the Cyberpunk Red source book and you're like, I know the rules, time to go play. Did you think that hygiene was going to be on your mind? You know, and like, I can't play, this guy next to me stinks, dude. Like, or like, he's spitting on me when he talks, like, or you know, the game master uses like graph paper with scribbles, and I'm used to like tabletop simulator or like big battle maps, and like this is like breaking my immersion. There's things that happen that just clash, you know, and it's just interpersonal stuff. So you got to be good with people, and I know it's kind of hard. We're all neurodivergent too, so I get it. I get it. All right, here we go. Next one. Cyberpunk Red subreddit from Mux_2. Are starting characters too strong? So I just played my first Cyberpunk game and it was fun, the free DLC Red Chrome Cargo. But I'm kind of a min-maxer, and I spent the best of the last 2 weeks looking over stuff, creating many characters and considering different options. And I ended up considering we start too strong. More precisely, too rich. Yeah, min-maxers, you're correct. For example, my character's a solo using martial arts, taekwondo with a Sigma linear frame. Sigma boy. The mooks on the mission were not a challenge to him. He would probably have defeated them all alone. Yeah, I can tell you right now, Red Chrome Cargo was not built to challenge min-maxers. It was not. It's a introductory, adventure for people that maybe don't have a lot of experience. It's supposed to like be the full gambit of everybody can play. They don't design the games for min-maxers. They try to curb it. James is a min-maxer. James Hutt, he is a min-maxer, so they got the right guy on the job. But even him, you know, like he still couldn't like. So for example, a lot of you guys out there I know play video games, okay? How many competitive online video games have you played where they catered to pros more than they cater to the casuals? And how much does that ruin the game? How much does that suck? Because it's like, oh, somebody found like a crazy like combo with this one character that's really, really hard to do. And the pros are going crazy with it. So we got to patch it. And now this character sucks. And then, like, that was your favorite character. You didn't even know that you could use that combo. You just found out about it, and now they nerfed your character, and you're like, okay, well, I didn't even get to do the fun thing, and my character got nerfed. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a pro. I'm just a casual. I'm just trying to have fun, you know? So you can't design the game for min-maxers. Min-maxers can do their thing, and they should be able to do it, you know? So anyway, this guy, he figured out the combo, you know, solo, martial arts, Sigma linear frame. You're doing boatloads of damage. You know, the only thing that can defeat a solo with martial arts, taekwondo, and a Sigma linear frame is an enemy solo using martial arts, taekwondo with a Sigma linear frame. That's the only way to defeat him. And as far as I know, Red Chrome Cargo does not have solos using martial arts with a Sigma linear frame. It just doesn't. And sorry, you know, maybe you can add it, but you can't, but it doesn't have it. All right. So anyway, so I go to look to other enemies in the core book, and even the Cyber Psycho, which was the one that seemed stronger and supposedly to use against the whole party, you would be able to defeat 1v1 more than 50% of the time, depending on the dice rolls, of course. Yeah, I know, because the Cyber Psycho was not designed for min-maxers. It was designed for casual people. That's why. And it's not like a very smart build exploiting the system. It's fairly standard. Max the stuff you will. Yeah, because there aren't a lot of, like, even though the core rulebook is like 400 pages, there isn't a lot of nuance. There isn't a lot of, like, crazy combinations of stuff that you can do. Like, it's a pretty simple system to min-max because it's not focused on, like I said, they didn't really focus on the power curve all that much. They just wanted to make sure that it was like a fun, balanced game for 90% of the people that play the game, and the 10% that min-max in the game are just going to break it, and it's just going to happen. And I think accepting that is a lot better than trying to fight against it, because fighting against it is futile. Like, min-maxers are gonna, like, dude, how have you seen speed runs for like Baldur's Gate 3? Like, they're just using ideas that they like, game mechanics plus D&D breakage stuff. Like whatever you can break in D&D, you can break in Baldur's Gate 3 because it's the same system. And like they're not changing it. They're like, yeah, if that's how you want to play, then fine. You know what I mean? A rock falls. GM could always defeat the PCs. Yeah, but you know, maybe they don't. A lot of folks also, when they run an adventure, they just want to do it rules as written. You know what I mean? But you know, we'll see. So anyway, this is an issue, but not the worst. Maybe it's by design. Like PCs are basically not meant to be defeated in modern D&D, and not everyone is a power gamer or like harder gamer. And it can be solved easily with the GM buffing opponents or putting us against more of them or creating unfavorable situations. Yeah, exactly. But it sucks to do that. But the main issue is that I have nowhere to go from where I'm at regarding equipment. I don't want better armor because of the penalties. Getting a better linear frame would only give me a few more hit points, not increase my damage. No cyber armor leg will improve my kicks and punches or dodges. The only direct combat improvement I can get are to initiative and to mitigate wound penalties. So my uses for money are mostly to improve horizontally. Improve my drug resistance, shield stuff against EMPs, a grappling hand, night vision, faster running, more situational and or utility stuff. Which this part, I mean, I know he's like blasting through this, but those are fun things to have. Anti-dazzle, you know, night vision, grappling hands. Like I've had a lot of games where somebody had a grappling hand and it was fun. It was cool. It was awesome. Like it led to a lot of really cool creative situations, you know? Where they like save their lives and stuff like that. But yeah, I've said this 1,000 times. Everybody's said this. Light armor jack is a must. Everybody gets it. It gives you SP11. You get no negative penalties. I think it is what it is. No one's going to use anything worse than that. I had one player say like, oh, thematically, I wouldn't use a light armor jack, so I'm going to use the one that's like 8 SP. And very quickly, he was like, okay, no, fuck this. This sucks. I don't want to do this. I'm going to buy an armor jack. It's very cheap, and I need to protect myself. But it also lets you know that like the enemies are going to have it too. You know what I mean? So it's like an even playing field in that. I let them know. I let my like players know, like, you know, a lot of them have light armor jacks, because if you have it easily, they do too. You know? So anyway, I like horizontal progression as it helps controlling my min-maxing side, but this level seems a little extreme to me. Starting already at the top is weird. The progression through IPs is way better done, as I can improve vertically, but it's very expensive, while horizontally it's pretty cheap. Yeah, because it's just a matter of perspective, in my opinion. The game is, your characters are not meant to be level 1. They're just meant to be experienced, but challenging themselves to do new things. So the idea is that your character already has a backstory. They were level 1 10 years ago. All right? If we're going to use a level system, your characters don't start at level 1. Cyberpunk characters start at a higher level, like level 5 or 7 or 8, maybe even 10. You know what I mean? I don't know what you want to base it on. But they've done stuff. They've gone through things. They've done, you know, even if they're a solo 4. You know, you start at a 4. Okay, that's almost at a 5, which is a 50% of the maximum. So you're halfway there to being an expert. So your characters start basically right under halfway there to being an expert at what they're at. So you do, while you start on top, it's a skill-based game, and I think it's okay. And it isn't just this build. With the 2,550 starting cash, the optional extra 1,500 plus Neuralink, blah blah blah, best possible armor, eyes, almost all possible. Okay, but then you have no money and you can't buy, like, you know, a piece of bread. So that's a thing too. I've seen a lot of players use everything from the 2,550 starting cash, and then like they're broke. You know, how many games have we started where everyone's broke, and then everyone's like, yeah, we got to get a job, my pockets are empty. I spend everything on cyberware, right? Anyway, doesn't this go against the game's vibe of street level poor guys against the rich elite? No, because you're still, even though you're like a killer, like you're not the only one out there. You know what I mean? You're not the only one that has all that stuff. And as I said in an earlier, post, all these powerful things like a linear frame comes with linear frame problems. You think you're gonna walk into a nightclub with a linear frame on and no one's gonna say something? You think people just walk around with linear frames and no one looks at them and says like, dude, it's like walking into an establishment with an AR-15 strapped across your chest. Everyone's gonna be like, whoa, dude, where's the war? Where's the war, dude? What the hell? Are you like some kind of police? What the hell, dude? Like, we all got our little pistols in our pocket. You're coming in with an AR strapped to your chest. Or like you walk into a nightclub and you got this giant linear frame and you look like a refrigerator. You'll be like, whoa, 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 who's this guy? No, hey, listen. No, I was invited. I don't care if you're invited, dude. You're not walking in like that. None of our guys are equipped to take care of something like you. Like, I don't have max tack on speed dial. You're not invited, dude. Get out. Like, get out. You can't come here. I don't care if the MacGuffin's in the nightclub. You're not coming in. All right, I punch you. All right, max tack is called. You know what I mean? So, linear frames come with linear frame problems. I would definitely tell the players that too right off the bat. I get it if you're doing red chrome cargo. But, it is what it is. All right, anyway, and then with the difficulty to get stuff, we can only buy 100 EB things easily. This is made a little better in a way, but even worse in others, as if my game master doesn't give me ways to buy what I want. Why can you only get 100 EB things? Excuse me. The cutoff is 500. So anything, I always tell my players, anything 500 eddies and less, you can buy. Because a fixer will need to source it for you. But guess what? If you're a level 4 solo, you think you haven't met one fixer? You've never met one fixer. You we're gonna start at roll 4, and you've never met one fixer that you work with. In fact, all my players start usually knowing the same fixer. Like, yeah, you got a fixer and you all know him. He got you your AR-15s and whatever, or your assault rifles and stuff. It's just logical. It wouldn't make sense that you don't know a fixer. So I tell them 500 eddies and less, you can get it. So it seems to me the game would work better if we started with less money and probably weaker. Lower roll level, lower skills max. Let me start only with 2d6 damage pistols. Finally get the cash for the 3d6 one. Eventually an assault rifle, then an excellent quality one. Slowly one relevant upgrade for each mission. But anyone can get an assault rifle, dude. You know what I mean? Doesn't it? It's not even expensive. I think it's 100 eddies, right? I get what you're saying. I get what this person is saying. Let me just finish it. I'm almost done. And having lower skills and roll would allow us to upgrade them faster, not demanding me to play at least 4 sessions to improve my rank in one. I get that. The game should have a desired starting power table with different power levels to start our characters. That would be good DLC. Maybe a DLC for that. Yeah, that would be good DLC. Also, stronger enemies, please. Do the published missions have that, or all of them as easy as the ones I played? I found, okay, just to answer that last question, I found I found that NPCs, like those stat blocks that you get in like the books and stuff like that, I found them to not be very challenging. I don't think my players are very like challenged by it. The only time I was able to really like challenge my players is by adding something that they don't expect. And trying to keep it within the rule set, not something like, too crazy, but something that they don't expect. It sends, and remember, rocket launchers are rules as written, the way that they work. Explosions are insane in Cyberpunk. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, no, I think that, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the starting cash. I think that even if you make a very powerful character, there's still ways for that very powerful character to get countered. It's easy to counter them. It might look like on paper you're going to be killing everything, and you might be killing everything, but will the other players be killing everything? Probably not. And, this isn't a solo game. It's not a single player game. It's a group game. And, even if everybody has assault rifles, so does whatever you got, the bad guys got it too. They've got linear frames too. They've got way less humanity than you because they don't care about going cyber psycho. So, rocket launchers are pretty insane IRL too. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like it's not illogical that someone will have some kind of RPG or rocket launcher. Like, that's like the most infamous thing about fighting in the Middle East is like the RPG. Like it became, something that a guy in flip-flops can use to take out a tank. You know what I mean? Like that it's why wouldn't somebody in the cyberpunk world have like a smart a rocket launcher of some sort, or a grenade launcher or something like that, or an assault rifle, So there I have heard of players doing the gutter punk thing where you start with nothing and you work your way up. I don't personally like that. I like for my players to come to the table with characters that have a lived life because it's more interesting. There's more things that have gone on in their life. They have love interests, family, enemies, friends, and it's a lot to work with and a lot to have fun with. And combat is not everything in Cyberpunk. Being the big, powerful guy does not make you, just because you can kill things doesn't mean that you should be killing them. And that's something that you learn playing the game. So I've never had a single issue with a min-maxer. I've played with min-maxers. They've joined my game. I let them do whatever they want. And they're like, I can buy this. And I'm like, yeah, you can buy it. I can get a linear frame? You can absolutely get a linear frame. But just to let you know, it causes a lot of unwanted attention. It's very obvious that you have a linear frame. So if you're okay with that, then yeah, go ahead. 9 times out of 10, I just talked them out of a linear frame. 9 times out of 10, dude. As soon as I tell them that, I talk them out of a linear frame. And did I tell them that they couldn't take one? No. Did I tell them they didn't have a choice? No. I used logic. That's all I did. I said, you can have a linear frame, but it's a big eyesore and it's very powerful and people don't like it. They feel threatened by it. Almost. I got one more. All right, so that's it. That's from Mux2, Cyberpunk Red subreddit. One more, last one. All right, guys, we're doing it. What's everybody saying in chat? Oh god, this convo pissed me off. Dude admitted he came in to backseat his GM. Yeah. Here we go. Logic, how dare you? I know, exactly. All right, let's move on. Feyraz8729 says real tactics versus mechanics dissonance. All right. So I've been playing Red for quite some time, 3-ish years now. And after many initiatives and RP moments, there's something that just bugs me about how the mechanics of the game spit in the face of actual tactics. I think I might agree with this post, but let's see. Now, while I get this is a game and all that, it still feels off for a variety of reasons. All right, here we go. Let's go. Bullet point number 1, grinding my gears. You have bullet dodging being the meta, so enemies that can't dodge is just meat for the grinder. All right, I'm going to go through, I'm just going to read them and then I'll tell you what I feel. So bullet dodging is the first one. It's the meta. Second, you are either in cover or out of cover. GM's discretion is concealment applies. In concealment applies. I don't know what that means. But yeah, I understand that. When breaking cover, you can't just punch a small hole in a wall to prop a rifle inside like a loophole in buildings, as it has to destroy 2 meters by 2 meter section, which is huge. Does it? I don't know about that, but anyway. Reinforcements like sandbags behind a wall help with bullets, but do nothing for explosions. That's not true. Defeating the entire purpose of sandbagging a wall. Being prone does nothing for range or cover raw. rules as written. So that's up to GM discretion as well. I love playing the game, so these aren't real complaints and more like observations on how the rules clash with tactics of today. And having played 2020, it's hyper tactical gameplay. All right, now we know what's going on here. This is a 2020 player, much like, you know, I played 2020, of course, for many years. So I'm not talking down on it. I'm saying that I get where you're coming from, brother. It feels like night and day to just rid it all and make it more bombastic at the cost of clever planning and prep. All right, well, the good news is that I don't think any of these things are true. I think that I have a counterpoint to everything. Okay, so that's good. I don't agree with this post at all. You know? All right, so bullet dodging being the meta, so enemies that can't dodge is just meat for the grinder. It's a D10 game, okay? That means 10% of the time you're going to roll a 1. And a 2 is not always good either, right? So, bullet dodging is not as powerful as people think it is. And if you can do it, the enemies can do it too, okay? There's certain enemies that can do it. Then there's certain enemies that can't do it. Some of my players have a high reflex. Some of them don't. Some of them can do it. Some of them can't do it. I used to be against it. I just don't like the idea of dodging bullets. I look at it as evading gunfire, which is different than dodging bullets. It's basically like ducking for cover and like, you know, you're in your cover and you duck down at the exact right moment that you're supposed to while the bullets are flying in your direction. And I think that's different than bullet dodging. It's evading gunfire is what I like to call it. And I've seen it go poorly. Okay? I've seen players dodge when the range chart was more advantageous to them. But they're so used to dodging everything that they're like, I'm going to dodge. And I'm like, dude, the guy has to roll a 20. In my head, I'm like, this NPC has to roll a 22 to hit. And this guy's he's dodging. So I've seen it's not a meta. It's a meta trap. Okay. Dodging is a meta trap. Trust me. I've seen it go wrong many times. And it's not as great as you think it is. I've seen solos that have bullet dodging fall to, you know, normal gunfire all the time. So yeah. And as Binary Dragon said, not dodging bullets, it's moving fast before they shoot. Yeah. Yeah. So all right. So that's the first one. Bullet dodging, not as powerful as you think it is. I promise you. Maybe, you know, they're biased with, you know, their experience, but I'm telling you, like, I'm biased with mine. I've seen it be not an issue at all. All right, you're either in cover or out of cover. GM discretion in concealment applies. Now, I understand that some people want half cover, and I've heard, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I have videos on it with James Hutt where we talked about it. And the golden rule just makes it easier to understand whether you can hit or you can't get hit, okay? And I think it just makes it easier, and because you know how the game works, you can game the system against the players, and the players can game it against you, and I think it just works both ways. There's no debates whether you're in cover or not. It happens so much in other games like war games where it's like, can you see my guy or can you not see my guy? There's guys with like laser pointers. I swear to God, if you guys have not ever experienced that, they sell laser pointers that shoot down a horizontal laser, not like a dot, but a horizontal line. So you can like see the line of sight. You know what I mean? I'm over here now. Thanks. You're giving me views on both. Thanks, Paris. But yeah, I feel like that, you know, it has its place in Warhammer, but you know, it's not really all that big of a deal. I get it. I mean, I think that there could be more nuance to cover that isn't covered in the book, cover to cover. But I think that it's okay. Once again, I think that it's okay. I think it works out. GM discretion in concealment applies. I don't know what that means exactly. I think they're trying to say like a GM can just say like you can't see. But I think a lot of people forget that the way cover works, like let's say you're behind a piece of cover, okay? Okay. Here. Do I have to get MS Paint out? Hold on. Okay. All right. We're on MS Paint. Okay. All right. This is a piece of cover. This is a bad guy. Okay. And then this is you. With your pew pew. All right. Riveting. Amazing. Amazing. What's up, everybody? All right. So you're in this cover, right? Rules as written. On your turn, you are allowed during the 3 seconds of combat, which is your turn. Everybody's turn is 3 seconds of combat. You are allowed to pop up and shoot. Pew, 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 pew. Okay? And then you can go back down into your cover, and you have the golden rule of cover. They cannot shoot you. Okay? How do you counter that? That sounds powerful, right? You can just go behind a piece of cover, and they got to kill you, right? Well, there's ways to counter it, okay? There's ways to counter it, okay? The first one is for your guy. All right? This is fun. Enemy has to come and flank, which they can do on their turn. Or they can come over the divider and melee. Or they can get on these boxes and from an elevated position, gain line of sight. Okay? So flanking maneuvers exist. There's a way to get to you, so you're not fully protected. You're not as protected as you think. That's number one. Number two is the grenade solution. Okay? Okay? You're here. And you throw a grenade. Okay? Now, let's say the grenade doesn't land where it's supposed to, behind the cover here, okay? And it lands right here, okay? Rules as written. If a grenade does damage to this cover, okay? It's 6d6. Remember? 6d6. Hold on 1 second. Let me close the door. Okay? Now, in the book, in the Cyberpunk Red Core rulebook, every piece of cover has its own HP. It's called STP. Standard Structural Damage Points. Okay? SDP. Okay? So every piece of cover has to be destroyed for you to see this guy. Let's say you don't want to flank, right? You can't flank. You can't do all those things. All you can do is shoot, right? So you throw a grenade. You have to destroy this piece of cover. Let's say this piece of cover has 25 hit points, okay? SDP. Sorry, not hit points, SDP. SDP. Okay? If your grenade does more than 25 points of damage, let's say you roll it 6d6, boom, 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 it comes out to, let's say 31 damage, okay? What happens to this piece of cover? It is destroyed, okay? And how much damage goes through to the guy behind it? Is it 31 minus 25, 6 damage? right? Is that what you think happens? No, that's not what happens. The person behind this cover takes 31 damage. If you destroy this piece of cover and you do more damage than whatever its SDP is, let's say it was brought down to 15. Let's say like you were shooting it, you know, another guy shot it. It's down to 15 now. This guy's going to take 31 damage back here. Maybe even kills him, right? Let's say your grenade does 12 damage. This brings down the SDP to a 13 SDP. And this guy is safe. Nothing happens to him. Okay? So, that was a long way of saying that there are ways to get around the golden rule of cover. And they're very easy to do. Oh, there's another way. There's another way. All right? Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay? This is another way. You got guy behind cover. Okay? Got enemy combatant here. All right, they're fighting. Pew, 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 pew. This guy has no line of sight. All right, he has no line of sight here. Red line doesn't work. No line of sight, right? So he can't shoot. So he decides, instead of trying to shoot this guy, which I can't because I have no line of sight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my action. Hold my action. And what I'm going to do is on this guy's turn, when he pops up to shoot, in the exact moment that he pops up to shoot, that's when I shoot him. You can tell the game master that. You can tell them that you're holding your action and you're going to shoot them at the exact moment that they're going to pop up. So I just showed you 3 different ways. And Binary Dragon pulls the cover with a grapple hand. There's so many ways. Be creative. There you go. So I just showed you 3 different ways, and then Binary Dragon threw a 4th in there. There's ways to get around cover. It's not that bad. Okay? Next. When breaking cover, you can't just punch a hole in a wall to prop a rifle inside with loopholes in buildings. It has to destroy a 2 meter by 2 meter section, which is huge. So I don't know if this is rules as written. I don't know where they're getting the 2 meter by 2 meter section. You know, are they saying like, you know, you're on a battle map, right? We're on a battle map. Hold on 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, so you're on a battle map. Right? This is like a hex grid, whatever. Are they saying if my guy is right here and he's behind a piece of cover that I have to destroy the entire piece of cover for it to be considered destroyed? I don't think that that's rules as written. I don't know where that's said. Overwatch, basically. Yeah, exactly. Overwatch. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I don't know if that's rules as written somewhere. I don't know if James said that one day. But I think it's feasible to tell, like, you know, you could tell the player, hey, listen, if you can make a hole in your cover to shoot out of, then the enemy can see you now, because now you've broken the golden rule, right? So I'll allow you to break a hole in your cover, but that's going to break your cover. then you're no longer in cover. So instead of doing some, you could do a situational where you give them like -1. You could do that and be like, I'll let you punch a hole, but that means the enemy can now hit you. But guess what? There's a negative modifier to it because it's harder to hit you. Yes, they can still hit you. They can see you. But negative modifier, which is rules as written. I'm not adding something new. Negative modifier, -1 to hit, -2 to hit maybe, if it's really severe. And that's rules as written. That's not homebrew. I didn't just make something up. It says in the book that there are certain situations during your skill checks that will make them more difficult. And that's what negative modifiers are there for. So while, yes, you do get a benefit from making a little hole in your cover and shooting out of it, there's a big downside, which is now you can be targeted. Are you targeted at a -1? Yes, but you're still targeted. You went from not being targetable to being targeted, but at a -1 or a -2, right? So that's rules as written. There's nothing wrong with that. Reinforcement like sandbags behind a wall help with bullets, but do nothing for explosives, defeating the entire purpose of sandbagging a wall. Not true. Like I said, if it's a sandbag, let's say it has 50 SDP. 2 grenades will get rid of it. The first grenade will soften it. The second grenade will cause it to fail. So I think that's pretty good. I think 2 grenades. I think that's what makes sandbags so good. Is it you need 2 grenades, right? Being prone does nothing for range or cover. Rules is written, so that's GM discretion as well. Not true. Not true. Taking aim gives a +1. There are positive modifiers. Rules as written, there are positive modifiers. I know it's GM discretion, but GM discretion is part of the rules. It's written in the book that the GM needs to have discretion because there's going to be times where the player has some kind of leg up. But guess what? If you're prone, you gotta spend an action to get up. It takes longer to get up. So if you got to run away, then on your turn, all you can do is get up, which is an action, and then now you have your move action. So being prone has a negative side to it too. While it gives you a +1 to hit as GM discretion, it also costs you an action to get up. So there's a downside to it, and so you can do it, it gives you the plus, but there's also a downside to it. And I think both are very logical. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I literally went through this one by one. I thought I was going to agree. I thought there were certain things that happened within the game that I was going to agree with, but that's not the point, I think that there's a way to counter everything here. So while this game master has 3-ish years, I think that their perspective might need to change a little bit. I know this was 7 months ago, which is crazy. It took me that long to get to this, but I've had this in my notes for a long time. But yeah, I don't think that any of these things are an issue. So yeah, that's my advice. That's it. I hope that helps. And yeah. All right, Chooms. That's it for me today. I really appreciate you guys coming on and being a part of the stream. I hope you guys are having a wonderful New Year's. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you, all the support I get on Patreon. The last thing I'd like to say before I sign off is if you're from another country in this world that is not an English-speaking country, my videos are now auto-dubbed in different languages. You can go to any of my videos, click on the little gear icon, click on the audio stream, and change it to other languages. Yes, they use like some sort of like AI kind of thing, but it's actually not that bad. I speak other languages. I speak Spanish. I checked out the Spanish one. It's a little bit weird, but it kind of sounds like me in some videos. Other videos, it doesn't sound like me. So I don't know how it exactly works, but it makes it so like if, English isn't your first language, that's pretty cool, dude. You can watch it. So let all your non-English speaking friends know that you might be watching this right now in another language. So, all the languages out there in the world, they got Japanese, German, Italian, Spanish. I mean, Dutch. It's all there, dude. It's pretty cool. So, you know, if you want to check me out in other languages, you can do that. All right, Chooms. Thank you so much. Much love. I really appreciate it. Binary Dragon, make sure you guys follow him. No Latency Podcast is one of the best cyberpunk actual plays out there. Might be the best. And he does a really good job. I love that crew. And, you know, I appreciate them. You know, all that is Jay. I would agree that it's AI slop if it wasn't just me talking and them just dubbing me. You know, the only AI involved is trying to match the cadence of my voice in another language, which I don't think is a really unethical use of AI, you know? And I know you probably didn't mean that, you know, seriously, but I did think about it. If they're using AI to dub my voice and they can kind of do it automatically, and, you know, I think it's cool that other people can reach me and check it out, but might be you know, ethical in my opinion. But anyway, love you, Chooms. Thank you so much. Have a supernova year. 2026 is going to be great. We'll see you guys next week for some more stuff. I'm going to have Dice on here. Thank you for watching the live chat. Love